Welcome to Nerdrotic Live. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from Nerdrotic and Nerdrotic.com, and we are here to cover the Doom Patrol for the first time. Series 1, Episode 7, Therapy Patrol. Now, I've talked about it a little bit on my live streams, on my Friday Night Tights live streams, that this show has been growing on me as it goes on. And the DC universe, I know why they went with Titans first, name recognition. I get it, but they really should have led with this one because it's night and day, these two series. Now, one series, Titans, is run by Akiva Goldsman. Now, I've made it no secret, I am not a fan of Akiva Goldsman. Nipples on the bat suit, Sonar in Space, Lost in Space with Matthew LeBlanc. Need I say more? Yes, he's won an Academy Award, but nothing for genre. That is for sure. Batman and Robin, that's all I've got to say. He should stay as far away from genre and superheroes as possible. There should be a restraining order. But I'm forgetting his name now, but I think it's the guy who ran Supernatural. Is the showrunner for Doom Patrol right now, and it really plays out like Legion, one of my all-time favorite shows. So if you're not familiar with Doom Patrol, they base this on the Grant Morrison run from the late 80s. I think I've got the full run, and I'm rereading the comics now, and this show really captures the spirit. They even mention it in the first episode when Mr. Nobody even mentions Grant Morrison. This show's for Grant Morrison fans and, for nihilists. And honestly, this is, it's got a lot of tropes that are kind of tired right now. But when you base it on the source material from 25 years ago, 30 years ago, to me, it's okay because it really relies on the bad dad thing quite a bit. So again, if you're not familiar with the Doom Patrol or the comics, they're kind of like the X-Men. But I've always liked the Doom Patrol more because they're weirder, and it really does explore, at least Grant Morrison's run explores, what if superpowers just went completely wrong, and the Doom Patrol at this point, the show is, they're not out fighting crime. They're not a super team. They're not even technically the Doom Patrol. They are people living out their lives in solitude because they have no control over their powers because of issues they've had in their past. These are all broken people. And a couple of them are many years old, like Negative Man is probably, pushing 80 or 90. So is Rita Farr, Elastigirl. They threw in a cyborg in this and Victor Stone. And when I first heard that, I was like, oh, when I saw the costume, I was like, oh. But now that I see it in play, it really works. And he's much better than the cyborg that is in Justice League. So Javon Wade has done a great job. At first, I didn't like him very much, but he's really grown on me. Everybody has pretty much grown on me. Diane Guerrero as Crazy Jane. Crazy Jane was always going to be a tough character to like because it was a tough character to like in the comics. But she's done an admirable job. It still can be annoying, but she's supposed to be annoying. That's kind of her deal, and it's very interesting how they do this. Now they introduced the Doom Patrol in Titans, and it's the best Titans episode. Now this is a much different Doom Patrol though, and the Doom Patrol we met through Gar. I want to say Changeling. I know it's Beast Boy, but I don't know. When I started reading Teen Titans, he was Changeling. It was a very different one. They had a different actor playing the chief, Niles Calder. And now Timothy Dalton is not really a permanent member of the cast. I think we were kind of led to believe that, but he's just a special guest star. And I don't know how much longer he's going to stick around. But when he's in it, he's great. Timothy Dalton is brilliant. And he was almost the action figure sitting here, by the way. It was almost Rassilon, but I decided on Q instead. And I'll get to you guys in the chat in a second. I'll just give you a brief rundown. So what we have this season is they are dealing with Mr. Nobody. We started the season, and he's the narrator of the show. So we don't know if we're in reality or not. We don't know if we're in Mr. Nobody's reality or not. He's an extremely powerful supervillain, and he was just kind of an idiotic supervillain in the beginning, and he went down to a Nazi doctor and got him some powers. And it turns out that Niles Calder it robbed this Nazi doctor of a lot of his equipment that he needs to create superheroes and supervillains. We've had a bunch of killer cameos. We had animal mineral vegetable man, which was great. We're gonna get Jimmy the Street. We got Mento last week. We got some of the and that was cool. That was like going back into like the Silver Age. But this is very much the whole trope from the 80s of deconstructing the superhero. Yes, it has been completely overdone, but they're doing it differently. They're doing it not really to they're trying to get into the minds of it, the whole therapy of it, and I think it's pretty cool. And especially if we go somewhere with this, I mean, if it's going to be season after season of them sitting around rooms going, "I'm broken," then that's not going to be good. But I'm pretty sure they're just doing it for season one, and by the end of season one, you're going to kind of see them come together as a unit. I don't think they'll all any of them will just be completely healed. But the negative man that we saw in Titans was happy cooking food, and this negative man is well, he's just sad. He's sad. Now, the highlight of this show is Brendan Fraser as Robot Man. He's freaking brilliant, perfect, exactly how you would imagine Robot Man would sound. And he took over this episode. So last episode, they Crazy Jane, I forgot which persona she took, Larry, who was Negative Man, and Rita to see the old Doom Patrol. And at first it looked like they were just in this nice retirement home training other kids, kind of like the X-Men. But then you found out that it was just an illusion and they were all broken by Mr. Nobody. And Mr. Nobody had brought them there to show them what happens when you cross Mr. Nobody. So it sent everybody reeling. Like, there's no way we could beat this guy. So this episode is called Therapy. Everything's called Patrol. There's Jimmy Patrol's the name of the next episode. This show is about therapy, this episode. So it's called Therapy Patrol. And like you see in the trailer, they're all sitting around a room trying to get into they need to tell each other their darkest secrets, because that's what Mr. Nobody is going to use over them. What brought this on is what's really interesting, and the payoff in this episode is brilliant. So we get to see basically what everybody's shame is and what Mr. Nobody can hold over them. Rita coming to terms. We find out that Rita is Elastigirl, and I can't wait to see like her real power in function. Right now, she's not. She's been sitting around the house for 60 years being a blob, and we find out this episode is that's how she sees herself. So it's completely mental. And she got her power. She fell in. She was in Africa and she was shooting a movie, and she fell into a swamp and encountered something that took over and changed her physiology. She doesn't age, but she can also, she's the blob. She can consume like in a town. She's pretty damn powerful. She can also stretch when she gets hold of her powers, and she does once in a while. Now, April Balby plays her to perfection. She's great, like a 30s, 40s actress. It's great. So we find out that she just sees herself as a blob. We find out that Victor Stone, killed his mother, and he feels guilty about that. But he also has Mr. Nobody in his head saying that that's not how it really went down. And so we think maybe he didn't kill his mother. We don't know. And of course, there's comic book spoilers all over the place. But the thing with DC is like, there's so many eras. Which thing can you spoil? But we're not going to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't read the comic books. Crazy Jane, they stick pretty much to her origin in the comics. She was, we'll just say, again, a bad father, did some horrible things to her as a child. And then we have Robot Man, of course, who was a lush race car driver, cheated on his wife all the time, was an alcoholic, like I said, and got in a car accident, killed his wife, thought he killed his daughter. The only thing left of him was a brain. He finds out his daughter's alive, but he still can't taste food. He can't feel when he wants to cry. He can't cry. And we can tell that Robot Man's kind of freaking out. So he instigates this whole, like, we need to sit around and talk. And and Larry Trainer, Negative Man, was a hotshot pilot and from the 60s, had a family and everything, but his secret was he was a closeted gay man. And he has a lot of guilt about pushing away the man he loved. And he has a very weird relationship with the energy being that lives inside. Now, they've changed Negative Man quite a bit for the show, but it works for me. It works for the show. And all right, so they all have therapy. It doesn't really work, but we find out Cliff, who is Robot Man, is freaking out this whole time. So while everybody goes, we flash back through everybody's event, and it ends with Cliff going, "You think that thing could hurt me?" And it's a confrontation he has with Cyborg, who shoots him with his cannon. And Cliff, we see Cliff more and more going over the edge. And what he's freaking out about is one of his old friends is basically became the father of his daughter, because he found her on like the version of Facebook, and he's been freaking out. But like you could tell he's kind of male functioning the whole time. And so everybody tells their secrets, and of course it doesn't seem to do any good. And then Cliff completely flips out. He starts seeing visions and stuff, and Cyborg has to take him down. And then we get to the last scene, which is brilliant. We see the vengeance of Admiral Whiskers. So we flash back to the first episode of Doom Patrol, and we see a mama mouse and a baby mouse, and you know, we see the mama mouse getting the baby mouse out of the hole, and they're going to go cross the street. She's all, "Come on, young one," and she goes to cross the street. And the Doom Patrol, when they decide to go out in the town in the first episode, ran over mama mouse, and you see little baby mouse go, "No!" And then you hear Mr. Nobody going, "Aren't you going to take vengeance?" And of course the mouse is all, "I'm a woodland creature. I do not take vengeance." And he's all, "Oh, to hell with that. Whoever told you that? You should take vengeance. You got to find the people who killed your mother. Go look at that roadkill and let it sit your head." And then we see Mr. Whiskers in almost present day going, "I am death. I am revenge. I am Admiral Whiskers, and I will have my revenge." And he gets into a little hole that was blasted in Cliff's armor when Cyborg, when his arm cannon blew up trying to shoot Mr. Nobody. So the mouse goes into Cliff, and at the beginning of the episode, Cliff talked about how Mr. Nobody's gonna fuck their mind, fuck their heart, and fuck their soul. And that's what Admiral Whiskers says he's going to do. "I'm going to fuck your mind. I'm going to fuck your heart. I'm going to fuck your soul." And that's what he did. So Cliff, there's a little mouse running around being controlled by Mr. Nobody. And just to show you how weird this show gets, Mr. Nobody crammed an entire town into the ass of a jackass. And there's a scene in this episode where Rita walks out of her room and she can't keep her form, and she falls down a vent into a furnace. And she's trying to, it's just a bizarre show, and I love it. I love it in every way. So, it doesn't get too preachy political. That's another thing I got to factor in. And everything I watch now is like, is it preachy? Is it not? On the preachy level, we got to have a 1 to 10 preachy scale, don't we? All right, we're getting to the chat now. So hello, everybody. How you doing? So if you're not familiar with how we used to do recaps on Nerdrotic, and now we still do with the bigger shows, is I talk about it for a few minutes, then we talk to you because you're the co-host. So since I never planned this channel, so I might as well keep it up. So we're going to do everything live here. We're going to continue to do our regular live shows on Nerdrotic. That nothing's going to change over there, but we're just going to do extra live stuff over here, like the Exozone, and maybe covering shows I wouldn't cover on the big channel because of the algorithm. So, man, I'll take requests. We can do retro recaps. I don't really give a wet slap about the algorithm over here, so it'll be very free form. And like, like if somebody wants me to cover an old Star Trek or old Doctor Who, or maybe check out a show I've never checked out. I've gotten enough super chats to where I have to check out Stargate. I have to check out Babylon 5, which I've seen episodes, but I haven't watched them all, but I'll definitely do that. And Farscape. I would love to just redo the entirety of Farscape on this channel. Legion is amazing. Let's get to, I don't know how many people are getting DC Universe. I would say if you're a comic book fan, it's worth it. If you're not, it really isn't. The quality of the streaming is not very good. to be honest with you. This is the one good show, but you do have access to Superman, the animated series, Batman, the animated series, and they are in HD quality if your connection is good. You have access to comic books. So if you're a huge comic book fan, I would recommend, I think there's a $75. It's a lot of money, but you get 15 months for $75. We got to see the Swamp Thing show that's coming up. Looks like that might be their best show. And Matt Ryan, I just read today, Matt Ryan wants to be in that show. And if he is in that show as a proper Constantine, prayers have been answered. So, Supernatural. Yeah, it's a 15 seasons. You hear Keanu Reeves rode around with plane passengers reading San Fran trivia. He did. That's cool as hell. I love that guy. Yo, Gart, what's up? I'm just kidding, Mr. Robot. I got you. Cyborg belongs in the Teen Titans, and honestly, he would have been a breath of fresh air in that show, Maverick. But like I'll say, the only really good thing in Teen Titans is Gar. I mean, like he's cast perfectly, and Donna Troy, but she's not in it that much. He will probably. I wouldn't. They're going to cross over. I think they're going to create their own little bubble universe over here, which will be a lot of fun because then I think we would actually see like a Batman and Superman sometimes. And that's the one advantage DC has over Marvel. You can just have a DC streaming. So it could be one of your worlds. It could be Earth. I don't know. Pick a number. Earth 42. Except for Cyborg, they're all 60 plus. Yeah, well, Cliff is from the 70s. He might be a little younger. Yeah, they might be all 60 plus. Timothy Dalton, his Bond grew on me. At the time, I didn't like him, but I like him now. What's up, Spartan Jeremy? How's it going? So if this show ever pops up on Netflix or you guys can rent it or something like that, I highly recommend it. I don't know if I would say, or just get a free trial for a month when it's over and watch it and then kill your trial. It's worth $7, $6. I would say so. Yeah, don't forget to lick that like button. What's up, Truth Apocalypse? I saw you over in Anti-Trekkers chat. I was watching him this morning. I'm still trying to figure out what he says I'm wrong about with Captain Marvel. I mean, I don't mind him. I disagree with YouTubers all the time, and it's like quarterback Matt Ryan from the Atlanta Falcons wants to play Constantine. Hologram Nunchuck. No, the guy who played Constantine in the series on NBC and then played him, and his character was kind of desecrated in the very SJW Legends of Tomorrow. It didn't start that way. I actually like season 1 quite a bit. He would be great on, I think if they had him as a proper, and Swamp Thing, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be hard rated R. And Doom Patrol is rated R. It's not, do not have your kids watch the show. The first episode, there's a girl bent over a table and big old Brendan Fraser right behind her, helping her over the table, we'll just say. Spartan Jeremy says things are going well. I'm working on your battleship and a miniature of Fleet Admiral Beekler. Oh, that is freaking brilliant. That is so brilliant. Quick update, guys. There's going to be I'm going to be guesting on a live stream. It's kind of a surprise. So keep an eye on Twitter, the community section. And I'll tell you where it's going to be. It's going to be at 2:30 Pacific. So it's going to be in about an hour. I am going to do Friday Night Tights tonight with Comics Division. And I got some cool stuff in my P.O. box I'll be showing off. So you guys are brilliant. Spartan Jeremy, this is Sparta. Man, I'm going to be kind of closer than I am now to Sparta, Spartan Jeremy. I'll be thinking about you. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much. I cannot wait to see them. I will show them everywhere. I will display it right behind me. in the what's the name? You know what? I'm going to name this what I used to name my new release wall in that was named by my friend Bill at the comic store. This is the Wall of Wonder, and we will put it on the Wall of Wonder. Your opinion on the Legion and the next season? I love Legion. Star Woke Inc. Nico. I love it. It's one of my favorite all-time shows. I can't wait for next season. We're going to see Professor X, Harry Lloyd. While I would have loved to have seen Patrick Stewart or somebody, or James McAvoy come in, Harry Lloyd is a solid actor. He was great in Counterpart. He was great in Doctor Who. He was great as Viserys in Game of Thrones. Did you see Douglas Nelson's pic of you and Doomcock Starlight? No, I haven't been on Twitter today. I'm gonna catch up on my Twitter tonight. Thanks, Matthew Matson. I will check it out. Doug, I saw that his podcast hit YouTube. I got to share that. We had actually a really good talk, I thought. Check out what the mashup Avengers 90s cast. Funny, and I even agree with some of the casting. I'll check it out, Joel Murray. Thanks. Wall of Wonder. We will call it the Wall of Wonder. Hello, Mike Brown. How you doing? Chris Persia is here with the wrench, and who else is here? Kegger Rogers. I have The Flash on DVD, but HD version would be great. The OG 90s one, I love that series so much. I have that on VHS, DVD. Yes, I kept all my VHSs, and I'm glad I did, because I have I have Star Wars. I have the original. That's the only way I can watch my originals. I got to find a VCR that works now. I think I have one that works. I have one of those Spider-Man TVs that was a VCR. Yeah, no kiddos. Doom Patrol is very rated R. It's gory as hell. And they in the first episode they showed boobies. I have not seen Becoming Bond, Wooly Bowley, but I'm a huge Bond fan. That's honestly, you want to know what kept me watching the World Class Bullshitters was I listened to their Marvel video. I'm like, that's cool. And then they did a big Bond podcast. I'm like, these kids are awesome. These kids are brilliant. That's the other channel of yours. I highly recommend Anime High Score Girl for everyone who liked ARC games in the 90s. Why 2 million are removed from Alita box? What? They removed $2 million from the Alita box office, Barcelona 12? What the hell? That's the thing is those estimates you see with films and most TV ratings are all bullshit. That's the one thing I do know. They are bullshit. Now they are estimates. They're all estimates. They round up. And the reason is they could get nowadays more than ever, they could get exact numbers of who's watching. They just don't share that stuff. There are some great older TV shows on the DC universe. You can watch Wonder Woman if you want, and old Superman. I think you can watch that Superboy show. Lois and Clark. Loved Lois and Clark. Howard Bandy says you need to check out this anime, Gary, The Rising of the Shield Hero. It's really good. I will note that down in my little notebook. I always have my notebook here. Well, I've been watching what's been going on in the anime voice community, and whoa, wow, what a bunch of... Is Renfamous still suspended from Twitter? That'd be interesting. Okay, so yeah, I love Lois and Clark. So Doom Patrol. So this episode, I would give it an... Oh crap, that's a Ricky move. Hang on, that's my Venture Brothers ring. I would give Venture Brothers this episode 8 out of 10. Pretty much, it's been a solid 8 out of 10. I highly recommend this series. I can't recommend unless you're a comic fan. I cannot recommend getting the DC Universe yet, but they have a 7-day free trial. It's even worth buying it for a month and watching Doom Patrol. So Doom Patrol's got a few more episodes. You want to wait till it's done, of course, and then you can binge it when it's finished, and you will like it. I think you will like it. Let's see. Before I go here, let me see how many episodes there are. There we go. It looks like there's going to be 15 episodes, so we are halfway through the season. Danny the Street, and the way they have him represented is pretty funny, is going to be in the next episode. And we're going to be seeing a lot more DC characters, and they are, getting in the weeds with the DC characters in the DC universe. And yeah, I love the direction DC is going right now. I want them to succeed so bad, because quite honestly, if Marvel's going the way that they say they're going to go, I'm not really interested. And you know what, DC, I've always been a Marvel guy, but I will admit this, DC fans, DC has always been more pure as far as comic books. It's always been more pure. I don't know. I don't know any other way to describe it. It's probably because honestly, they were first. They came around first. And even my son is a DC guy now. I've got my son's reading Silver Age Teen Titans, Silver Age Doom Patrol, and he's loving every minute of it. So for those out there who don't think you can tell those kinds of stories anymore, and Bob Wayne, who used to be a representative of DC, said, well, you can't really have the story anymore where Jimmy Olsen has his Superman watch and Superman goes and gets a cat out of a tree and a bunch of white boys cheer him on. Well, I mean, okay, we could have inclusive people cheering him on, but I certainly think you can still tell that story if you have a talented enough writer and you are willing to pay the talent to be there. You can't just expect talent to show up if you're not going to pay them. They are worth the money they are worth. So, hopefully comics can turn it around. I plan when I get back from my trip, or even while I'm on my trip, to do a live stream dedicated to the comic book industry and why it is falling. And I would love for you guys to join me and give me your thoughts, because it's just simply going to be from my perspective as a comic book retailer. There's many perspectives and many opinions on that. Mine is, of course, not the definitive one. It's just the way I see it. And I would love for people to join in. Even if you don't, hopefully you can learn something and find out why so many of us who read the comics are concerned about Marvel, and maybe we can explain, because sometimes we come off as crazy people. I understand that to normies, but maybe you can crawl into our heads a little bit and see where we're coming from, because really what's gone on in the comics is happening exactly in television and movies, and you're going to get the same result. But there is good out there, and Doom Patrol is good. Chat, thank you for joining me. I'm sorry I got to bug off. I would since I can read everything, I would. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep my chat up. I'm going to read it all and respond to it in the comments. So I will be back live in about 45 minutes. With some special guests, not on this channel, so please pay attention to the Twitter at Nerdrotics, or if you're a subscriber here or at Nerdrotic, I'll put it in the community section. It's kind of a surprise, so I would tell you we're going to surprise this person, and I'll just tease that there's going to be some bigger YouTubers than me. So I hope you all join us. Because it's going to be fun. Blue Rabbit, I am going to check out Love, Death, and Robots. I haven't seen it. I took a peek at it, and it looks really interesting. So when I'm traveling, I'm going to check it out, and I will do a review right here. Did I say Blue Robot? I'm sorry, Blue Rabbit. So I will be doing a review right here on that. Douglas Nelson, I will tweet out your video today. I saw it today. So I'll tweet that out. DC should end the CW shows and add at least 5 more new shows, especially a Batman show, to the DC Universe service. Then I could recommend signing up. I think we're leading up to that. I don't think they can do a Batman show right now because of Gotham. Gotham's gone. I think it frees them up to do a Batman show. And believe me, everybody on the planet wants a Batman show. That would simply be the biggest show on television. You want to get subscribers I mean, honestly, I love that they did Doom Patrol and Titans. You want to get subscribers, you do a Batman show. End of story. It's done. And you don't have to throw a ton of money into it. You capture the spirit of Gotham's villains. Now you don't go as wacky as Gotham. Okay. Actually, I would do the tone that they're doing in Doom Patrol. I would mirror that tone, which is not super grounded. People tend to want to ground Batman. Batman is the least grounded superhero of them all. I can argue this all day because he has no powers and because his villains are so crazy. This is a guy who has a giant penny in his bat cave and dinosaurs and shit. That's Batman. Don't get me started. Okay, I got to run. Everybody, thank you so much for joining this one. I will be back the next week or so. There will be live streams, but I can't schedule it because I don't know. Because I'll be traveling, but I'm not going to forget about you, and hopefully you won't forget about me. Videos will be coming, but they'll probably be like in the middle of the night. Yes, a Daredevil style. Daredevil season 1 and 2 are perfect superhero storytelling for television. It's that simple. All right, everybody. Have a great evening, afternoon, wherever you are, morning. And I will see you on that mystery channel in about an hour. And then over on Nerdrotic at 7 p.m. Pacific time with Comics Division and maybe some others for Friday Night Tights. All right. May the small folks sing songs of your greatness.